Hello, let's start from problem 6. The charges for a taxi ride are an initial charge of $1.80 and 75 cents for each mile driven. Write a formula for the charge for a taxi ride as a linear function of the distance traveled. So I want, let's say C represents my cost and D represents the distance traveled. Now, because I want as a linear function of the distance traveled, charge distance traveled is equal to initial charge is $1.80 and then 0.75 for each mile. So then 0.75 D, D is the mile driven, plus initial charge 180. And when you see each is your multiplication. And B, what is the meaning of the slope of this linear function? You know that y is a function of x, and it's in the form mx plus the b. And b is your y-intercept, you know, and it's 0b, and m represents your slope. So in this problem, then my slope is the value in front of the variable d. So slope is 0.75. And you know, slope is change in y to change in x. So the change of the dependent variable to change of independent variable. And you know, it's in this form. And so x and y. All right, so for C of D, D is your independent and the charge is your dependent. So the charge is dependent on the distance traveled. So then, as a definition, slope is change in C, Y to change in D. And the change in the cost is in dollars, and the distance is, you know, change in miles. So if you think over 1, the way you can interpret it then, I can say the slope of this linear function indicates that 75 cents is charged for each, this each is your 1 mile driven. This is the definition of B, of slope. C, they're asking what is the cost of a 12-mile trip? If D is 12, what is the cost? So my D is 12, so C of 12, that's the question. So 0.75, so my D is 12 plus 1.8 gives you $10.80. Suppose that you have only $15. How far can you go in the taxi? So $15 is my charge. It is my cost. So I have $15. The cost is 15 of the trip. How far I can go? They're asking D. What is D if cost is 15? So then 0.75 D plus 1.80. So Oh, okay. Hold on. I didn't read the whole problem. How far can you go in the tax? Assume that you will give $2 tip out of the $15 you have. All right, then my cost is 13 plus the $2 tip, then it will cost me $15. Now I'm going to solve the equation for D. Alright, so first what I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract 1.8 from both sides, and I'm going to end up here. 0.75D is equal to 11.2. Then I'm going to divide both sides by 0.75 to isolate D. So D here is equal to 14.9 miles. You can go 14.9 miles in the taxi with a $15 cost. Next question, 10. The net income of Apex company was 240 million. Let's summarize what we know. Summarize. In 1980 has been increasing by 30 million per year since. Over the same period, the net income of its chief competitor, the Best Corporation, alright, the first information is for Amex. And then for Best, has been growing 20, like by 20 million per year, starting with 300 million in 1980, same time. Which company earned more in 1990? And when did Apex surpass Best? Taking I to represent income in millions of dollars. And T represent time in years after 1980. So the equation representing income for Apex is income based on time is 240 is your fixed amount and 30 per year multiply. For Best company, income based on time is 300 is the fix, and then 20 million per year. So in 1990, 10 years after the starting point, Apex income is 240 plus 30 times 10, which is 240 plus 300, which is 540 million. So I of 10 here, 300 plus 20 times 10, 300 plus 200 is $500 million. So Apex surpassed Best, correct? When did it surpass the Best? Will be Apex equation surpassed Best. So I subtract 20t This is gone. So I end up here 240 plus 10t greater than 300. Then I subtract 240. Then I end up here 10t greater than 60. Then divide both sides by 10. T is greater than 6. That is, because it's greater than 6, it's not 6. So 1980 plus 6 is 1986. So the answer is 1987 because it's greater than, not greater or equal to 6. So what comes as a count to year is greater than 6 is 7 years. So 1980 plus 7 is 1987 is the answer. So to answer which company earned more in 1990 is Apex. And when did Apex surpass Best is 1987. Problem 12. When filing income tax returns, many people can claim deductions for depreciation on items such as cars, computers used for business purposes. The idea is that the value of such an asset decreases or depreciates over time. The simplest method used to find the depreciated value is called straight-line depreciation, which assumes that the item's value decrease is a linear function of time. If an $1,800 computer system depreciates in 5 years, find a formula for its value as a function of time. So I start with 1800. Today, when it was bought, it was $1,800. And it takes it to depreciate completely 5 years. That means in 5 years, the value of the value will be $0. So here V is the value of the computer and T is the time measured in years after its purchase. So V of T. So T is your independent variable, which is the first one, and then V is your dependent variable, which is the second one. So the first value is my time, and the next value is the value of the computer. Now here, because I know a value with a t value, which is x value is 0, then I know this is your b, which is your y-intercept. So my equation is y is equal to mx plus b. So I know the b, which is 1800. I need to find the slope. And the slope is, change in y to change in x. And here, change in value to change in time. So change in value is 1800 minus 0. Change in time is 0 minus 5. So 1800 over minus 5 gives you negative 360. So the equation of the depreciation line is V of t is slope negative 360 times t plus my y-intercept. So that means that 360 over 1 loses value of 360 per year after its purchase, $360. All right, the next question is, what is the worth after 3 years? If t is 3, V of 3, negative 360 times 3 plus 1800 is equal to If I do the math, I'm going to end up $720. Problem 14. Jen is typing her term paper for Psych 101. She types the body of the paper at a rate of 35 words per minute for 30 minutes. All right, 35 words per minute for 30 minutes. Then she takes 5-minute break and then comes back to do the oops, I'm going back. Comes back and to do the references at the rate of 20 words per minute for 12 minutes. Sketch the graph of Jen's typing rate as a function of time. So that means as a function of time, t is my independent variable, which is in minutes, and rate is my dependent variable, and the units for my rate is words per minute. That's my rate. So let's say this is 20 because it's like these two values. I'm gonna jot those down on the y-axis. So for 30 minutes, I typed like straight out. There's no increase or decrease in the slope, right? The rate didn't change. And then I gave a break 5 minutes. So this is 35. So I gave a break. Did not type anything. No rate. Rate is 0. And then for 12 minutes, I typed 20 words. So if this is 35, 12 minutes will give you 47. So this is the graph. 35 words per minute for 30 minutes. Gave a break. No rate. Rate is 0. Oops. And then 12 minutes, I type 20 words per minute. B, sketch the graph of the total number of words she types as a function of time. Okay. Okay. So then they're asking time over minute here, my independence, and then number of words is your y-axis. Okay, so I start with 0 time and typing nothing, and 35 times 30 gives you 1050. So it goes all the way up to 1050 here. Okay, and then so time is 30 minutes. So I gave 5-minute break, and then here, no typing, no words. I stay where, with 1050, and then 20 times 12 is the 20 times 12 is 240. So then for 12 minutes up to 47, I typed 240 words, and this value here will be then 1050 plus 240. So 20 times 12 is 240. If I add them up, I will get 1290. So this value here is 1290. So This will be the graph for B. For C, find the equation of the different line segments you drew in part B. So words per minute is 35 per time when time is between 30 and 0, and W is 1050 for time when time is between 30 and 35. That's the break. And then the words is 20 t minus 35 plus 1050 for time 47 and 35. You see, the way why I write it is because I want to go from 35 and on. So if t is 35, I'll get a 0 here. 0 times 20 is 0, so the starting will be 1050. So then any 35 minutes greater than, let's say 36, for example, if t is 36, 35, this is 1 minute times 20 plus 1050 is 1070 words. So this equation represents this line after 35 minutes. Okay. Next question is problem 17. Find the equation of the line that passes through the point 6, 4 and parallel to the line y is equal to 5x minus 3. Parallel gives you same slopes. And the slope for this line is 5. So I'm going to use 5 and 6, 4 to find the equation of the line. If you use y minus y sub 0, mx minus x sub 0, I know the point, I know the slope. Y minus 4, so my point is x sub 0, y sub 0 right there. Slope is 5, x minus 6. So y minus 4 is 5x minus 30. So y is equal to add 4, 5x minus 26 is the equation of the line parallel to this line goes through this point. Perpendicular, if my slope is 5, perpendicular lines have slopes opposite reciprocals. So basically, opposite means if it's a positive, then the opposite sign will be negative, and upside down, instead of 5 over 1, 1/5. So for example, if my slope is 2/3, to be perpendicular, the other line should have the slope opposite, upside down. If the slope was, let's say, -2, the other line, to be perpendicular, the slope should be opposite sign, which is plus, and upside down. Because when you multiply, the answer is -1. That's what you're looking for. The slopes multiplied should give you -1. All right, so I find my slope. So I know my point. So I'm going to use the same formula. Y minus y sub 0 slope x minus x sub 0. And so y minus y sub 0 is 4, -1/5 x minus 6. So this is equal to y minus 4 negative 1/5 x plus 6/5. So adding 4 will give you an answer for y is equal to negative 1/5 x plus 26/5. Okay, here when I'm adding these two numbers, I use the shortcut. This is 4, right, which is over 1. These multiplied, this multiplied, over multiplied. The denominators, which is 26/5. And last question, problem 18. Find the equation of the line that passes through the point 6, 4 again, and also passes through the point of intersection of negative 2x plus 1, 3x plus 6. Intersection of any lines is there's one line that they intersect. The way you can find it is you make the two lines equal to each other. You know, when they intersect, the y coordinates are the same, correct? It's the same y coordinate for each line that is common. So then I make the y's equal to each other. All right, so then I add 2x, gone, 5x plus 6, then I subtract 6, gone, negative 5, 5x, then I divide both sides by 5, negative 1, x. So x is equal to negative 1. Okay. So when x is negative 1, I'm going to plug it in any one of the lines to find the x coordinates of the intersection. So y is equal to, let's say, 3x plus 6, and x is negative 1, 3 times negative 1 plus 6, negative 3 plus 6. So y is equal to 3. So the intersection point is x, y. So the equation, now they're asking the equation that goes through these 2 points. All right, so my points are 6, 4 and negative 1, 3. Slope is change in y to change in x. 4 minus 3, 6 minus negative 1. So 1 over 7. That's my slope. And y minus y sub 0, slope x minus x sub 0. So you can take any of the points. I'm going to take this one, 4, 1/7, x minus x sub 0 is 6. So y minus 4, 1/7 x minus 6/7. So y is equal to, I'm going to add 4, correct? Is equal to then 1/7 x minus 6/7 plus 4. So I'm going to do the work, negative 6/7 plus 4 over 1. These two multiplied negative 6, these two multiply 28 over these two multiplied 7. 28 minus 6 is 22 over 7. So y is equal to 1/7 x plus 22 over 7. Hope this helps. I'll see you next video. Thank you.